So a few weeks ago, I genuinely wasn't sure what I was going to do next. I got to a point where things had slowed down, the weight wasn't coming off like it was before, and I started questioning whether I should actually carry on with my Mounjaro journey. And I know a lot of people get to this stage where it's not as clear as it was at the start. Because at the beginning it feels obvious, it's working, you just keep going, you plough on through, you're losing weight. But this stage is totally different. And over the last couple of weeks, I've had time to properly think about it. What I'm trying to achieve, where I'm actually want to get to, and what makes sense for me long term. Hello everyone, I'm Manda's Midlife and I've been taking Mounjaro now for 9 months. This channel is all about documenting the highs, the lows, everything in between. I take 7.5 milligrams every single week into my belly. I have now lost 72 pounds in that time. Now, Saturday's videos a little bit different than normal because they are all about a weekly update and a Q&A session where I attempt to answer the questions that you send in. But what we want to talk about first is the last couple of weeks I've had a decision to make, and I've really had to properly decide what I'm going to do next. Because I'm at the stage where it stops being so obvious and starts becoming a massive choice. Now I'm still 14 to 18 pounds away from my goal weight, and the bit where people don't really talk about is this bit, because at some point it slows down and it all feels less noticeable, and you start asking yourself, do I carry on? Or do I stop right now? So I need to ask myself, what am I actually trying to achieve here? What is my end point? And is it really worth continuing pushing to that end point? And over the last few weeks, that's exactly what I've been working through. And after properly thinking it through, I've made a decision. And I'm going to carry on. I'm going to push all the way to my goal weight. And the reason for that is actually really, really simple. And it's basically, I don't feel like I'm finished yet. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not at the weight I should be. And I certainly don't feel like I'm done with it just yet. And I'll be honest with you, I've made progress. I've made a lot of progress. But I know I've still got more in me. I know I've still got more to lose. And I think at this stage, it's less about the medication and it's more about what I am prepared to do with it going forward. So for me, the next phase isn't about chasing quick results anymore. It's about finishing this journey properly and then moving into maintenance. So what I really need to do is, instead of questioning stuff, I need to focus on being more consistent. And if I'm honest, that is going to make it easier. That's going to take the pressure off me because I'm not constantly second guessing. What I want to do before we move on to the Q&As, just want to talk you through the last week for me. Now, I'm not able to weigh this week. I haven't brought any scales on holiday with me, so there's going to be no weight update. But I wanted to put you sort of a little bit more in the picture as to what my week's been like whilst I've been travelling around Ireland, and how things without that routine are a lot different for me. Albeit, I've got to say, I feel like I've had a decent week. I've stayed in a different hotel every night for the last 7 nights, and what that means for me is routine and structure is completely out the window. But what I tend to do when I'm staying in a hotel and when I'm on holiday is I'll have breakfast. Now, I tend to fill up on breakfast, so I'm talking full Irish breakfast, so we're talking eggs, black pudding, white pudding, bacon, sausage, tomato, all the lovely stuff. That has been seeing me through into my evening meal, and then I've been trying to make the healthier choices in the evening. Don't pun honest and frank, I've not counted a single calorie this week, but that's because I know that when I get back to England, my journey's going to have a reset, we're going to have a restart, we're going to start doing the things that I know work for me, and that's going to start on Monday. Now, I know it's an old cliche, oh, I'm going to start on Monday, oh yeah, we'll start next Monday. I've come a long way in this journey. I've lost a lot of weight, 72 pounds. I know what works for me, and that's what I'm going to start doing again. And that's why I made that decision that I mentioned earlier, that I'm going to sort of plough on through and get to my goal weight before all the fun and games start with the maintenance side of this medicated weight loss journey. I also must say that the last few months have been so frustrating for me. The stores, the plateaus, the £2 off, £1 on, £2 on, £1 off, just the continuation of that week after week has been really frustrating. So when I get the reset, when I go through the reset next week, the discipline's going to come back, the focus is going to come back, and the routine's going to come back. And I'm going to start doing one of the habits that I said I was going to break, and that is I'm going to start weighing every day. I'm going to start getting on that Hume pod every single day without fail, and it's going to give me all the statistics that I need to help me go forward. So when I get the weeks when I feel like I'm not lost a huge amount of weight, my Hume pod's going to show me what's actually happening inside. So if I can get back to the gym, it will show me my muscle mass, it will show me all the bits and bobs that I need to know. Right, we're going to get started with the Q&As. Now, these are questions that you've sent in. I'm going to do the best to use my experience over the last 9 months to answer the questions. I am not a medical professional. I cannot make that any clearer. It's just me trying to share what I've learned on my journey in the hope that it will help you on your journey if you're on a similar sort of path as I'm on. Now, first up, apologies to XXL to large, because he sent me in a question, and I'm going to blame the Irish Wi-Fi in the hotels, but I can't find it. But I remember what the question was, and it was basically, how are you going to cope in Ireland with the Irish culture of drinking and pubs and that kind of thing? So what I've done, I've been travelling, I've not spent more than one night at any single hotel on this holiday. I've allowed myself 1 pint a day, and that is it. So if I've gone in a pub, I've had 1 pint, 200 calories, pint of Guinness, that's me done. And that's how I've coped with it. 100% aware that alcohol has got a lot of calories, and I'm not going to sit in a hotel or do what I'm doing on holiday and drink 8-9 pints every night. It's just not what I do. But I do apologise for not being able to pop it up on the screen, but I can't find it anywhere. Next up is a question from Georgia Bonetti 6993. Q&A, I'm thinking to skip a month from Mounjaro because I want to see how I feel after 7 months and over 60 pounds lost. I'm 15 pounds away from my target. What do you think? First things first, Georgia, absolutely fantastic. Well done. That's an amazing weight loss. So you should be very proud of yourself there. I get where you're coming from with this question. And you're probably at the point, like I've been in the last few weeks, where you think, well, I might just stop it anyway because I'm nearly there. And that's the bit that trips you up. It's the bit that tripped me up, because you've lost a whole load of weight. You're probably feeling and looking fantastic. So you think, well, I could just call it a day now, I'm done. Like me, you are so close to being that weight that you set, that goal, that target. Why don't you just wait until you get to that target and then move into the maintenance plans? Why are you thinking about pausing your journey just to see how it feels? Finish your journey and then think about how you're going to feel afterwards. See if you've learned the habits that we're all supposed to learn. So for me, I personally wouldn't be rushing to test it just yet. I would do what I'm going to do, which is sort of plow on through, see if you can get to that go weight, and then move into that maintenance mode. But it's a fantastic question, and I appreciate you sending it in. Right, before we move on to the next question, just wanted to say thanks to everyone that supports the channel. If you could like this video, that would be amazing. There's plenty more weight loss Mounjaro journey content coming. I'm nowhere near finished. I've got probably another 2 months, maybe more, before I reach goal. And then we're going to move into maintenance, and that is going to be the tricky part. I watch a lot of videos on YouTube with people in maintenance, and I realise how hard that's going to be. All I'm doing here is sharing the experience that I've learned over that 9 months and trying to give it back to you. It's all about the community. It's all about us being one big family and losing weight together and learning as we go. We're all fairly new to this medication, and there's so many hurdles, and part of that journey is learning how to deal with those hurdles, and that's what this channel really is, if I'm honest. If you wish to support the channel, there's many ways to do so. There's buy me a coffee, you can become a member of the inner circle, you'll get a few behind the scenes videos, you'll get early access to all the other videos, and a shout out on the channel. But for me, there's never any pressure for anyone to do those things. It's enough for me for you to like the video and subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate that wholeheartedly. So next up, we have got a question from David Palmer 5290, and he says, I'm approaching the end of my first month of the journey, and I've already had a plateau for 3 days. I haven't made any mistakes that I know of, and I'm definitely in calorie deficit. Did you experience anything like this early on? Any suggestions? I'm just keeping up the effort right now. Well, you're doing all the right things by keeping up the effort. In the early part of my journey, the weight was falling off me. I had no issues at all with sort of stores or plateaus, probably until maybe 6 or 7 months in, around about that sort of time. One thing I would say, David, is and I guess you are tracking your calories, is make sure you're eating enough. You want to be hitting your targets pretty much dead on, and I've said it in a few of my other videos in the past, but I always try and track my calories weekly, and that way if I go over one day, it's not a problem, because I know I can even it out over a week, and there's never any major issues. I've been going through a lot of stalls and plateaus at the moment, and I think we all know why that's happened, and we've kind of got to the bottom of it over the last few videos. The other thing worth mentioning, if you're approaching the end of your first month, it might be that it's time for you to go up to the next dose. Now, I went from 2.5 milligrams to 3.75, and that was a fantastic dose for me, and I stayed on 3.75 for potentially 3, maybe 4 months. And I found it amazing. I had no food noise. My appetite suppression was absolutely amazing. So if you're reaching the end of that first month, it might be time to go up a dose. Obviously check with your medical professionals before you do that, as I know you probably would anyway. Right, before we move on to the last question of this week's Q&A video, just want to say if I haven't read out your question this week, it will be read out on a future video. I don't avoid answering questions. The only questions I don't read out are the ones that are offensive, and yes, that does happen. It's a Saturday video. I need to be mindful of taking up too much of your weekend with my waffling, so I'm always mindful that the videos can't be too long, but I do appreciate you spending a little bit of your Saturday with me. So the last question is Praveen Pandy 3366. Hello, I started Mounjaro 5mg dose on the 9th of March. I've lost 7 kilos in 1 month. Today I am 99 kilos. From yesterday I'm feeling hungry in the morning and late evening. Is it normal, or do I need to increase the dose? How can I overcome this situation? Now, you've lost a lot of weight in 1 month, so well done, absolutely fantastic. You're already on 5mg dose. I'm assuming you did 2.5, and then I'm assuming you did 2.5 for 1 month, and now you're sort of nearing the end of your second month on 5mg. If you're hungry, also, are you counting your calories? Same as I said to David earlier, make sure you are eating the calories that you're supposed to, because for me, when I was in the earlier months of this journey, the only times I was hungry was when I probably wasn't eating enough, so I would force myself to eat a little bit in the evenings, and that may have come via a protein shake or a couple of chicken breasts, that sort of thing. We're not talking pizzas or Mars bars here, are we? Are you needing to go up a dose? First thing I'd be asking is, are you still losing weight? If you're still losing weight, then to me it says you're not eating enough, or you're not getting enough hydration. If you're not losing weight, then I would say you need to go up a dose. It's as simple as that. And now I've said it's as simple as that, I'm thinking, didn't I make that complicated? I hope that made sense, Praveen, and apologies if it didn't. Right, that is it for this week's weekly update Q&A video. Thanks again for spending a little bit of your Saturday with me. It's always appreciated. I'll leave a few of my videos on the screen for you to browse at shortly. My 9-month update video was out in the week, so that might be worth catching up with. And it kind of just sort of talks about how tricky it can get as you get towards the end of the journey, rather than being all flags and flowers and butterflies and saying, yeah, 9 months, I've lost 72 pounds. It was more of a different sort of perspective, saying, yeah, I've lost a lot of weight. Yeah, I'm 9 months in. But it does get harder, and it gets harder for a reason. And I accept that, and I know that, and I go forward with the knowledge of it being harder. And yeah, I'll take that on the chin. Thanks for watching the video. If you could like, subscribe, hype, all those crazy YouTube things, it'd be very much appreciated as always. I will catch up with you all on Wednesday. Thanks again for watching.